Now, this is a lady who's, I think she's abroad, and she's giving advice to her peers, especially men, about women, about the women that they choose to marry after they've left Nigeria. According to her, she says, never ever come back to Nigeria to pick a wife and go back abroad. Because the rate at which people get divorced and kicked out of their own homes is alarming. She was very honest, and apparently, according to the comments that came through, people actually espoused and agreed to what she was saying. Are Nigerian women that bad, is my question. She insisted that if you're going to get married this day and age, you must have a prenup, especially if you are abroad, or unless you stand the risk of being kicked out of your own home. I know how it applies there. Once you're married and anything goes wrong, you, the man, has to move out. And she says people, ladies, are taking advantage of this law. And they're just kicking Nigerian men out of their own hard-earned habitat. Let me put it so. She was very honest. A lot of people espoused, agreed to what she said. Are Nigerian women that bad? Is it that when you get outside the country, your eyes open and say, oh, I can do this to my man?
I think Nigerian women are fabulous everywhere around the world. And this particular conversation, yeah, I think it's actually, it's not a Nigerian thing. It's a female thing across the world. A lot of, men go through the same thing, whether white, black, whatever.
I have a friend who's outside, who's out of his home, only after taking his family to the UK.
Yeah.
Wow.
And currently, his wife called the police on him. Now he had to live on the street for a week before getting a place to stay.
Are you serious?
Yes.
God.
So it is actually happening
Yeah.
that men are being kicked out of their home, especially after they have relocated their entire family.
So
That's
but I'm just trying to say that it's not necessarily a Nigerian thing, because over there, the law supports women.
Yeah, the law doesn't look at where you're
yeah,
from. It just
doesn't
says
look at.
the
So
woman
it's not
gets
really a
this.
Nigerian thing. Yes, the lady who said that is Nigerian, and then she feels it's not a Nigerian thing. If by chance something, and yes, I'm not going to take the men out of it, because they love Nigerian men overseas who just do a lot of BS. And a lot of times, yeah, I even think a lot of Nigerian women are extremely patient, whether home or abroad, they're extremely patient.
But it just seems that in this case, they wait until, no worry, now, Shibu, they go
Okay,
abroad.
so
When
let
we
me
get
give you
abroad,
a
I'll show
personal
you.
experience. My
Because you
uncle,
can't do that in Nigeria here.
you can't do it in
Exactly.
Nigeria, but let me give you a personal experience. My uncle had stroke, yeah? And he's been married to his wife for almost 30 years, more than 30 years now. And he had a stroke, and the wife like literally just said, you know what, I'm washing my hands off him.
Abandoned
You guys can keep him. And she got away with it because the system supports things like that.
Was he fair and
based on, well, he's recovering, but it's just how the system is
That
over
guy's
there.
scarred for life, man.
That's just how the system is over there. Like, men get into the most awkward circumstances based on little setbacks. When I say little, okay, yes, you caught him cheating. And so?
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
I will say it, and so. Because there are many other things out there that people do.
Oh, be careful. We're
No,
on
I'm
national
going to
TV.
say-
No,
They
so
might
on-
come
There are
for
other-
you.
there are other things out
Let's
there
defend
that
for a
people
second.
No,
do.
but honestly, what he's saying is so true. Like, and then I think one of the greatest problems that people have presently now is that they live by other people's standards. So there's a social media standard of living, of how
Exactly.
your life should be. I mean, if your husband does this, you should do this. If your wife do this, you should do that. These things don't necessarily work for everybody.
But exactly.
I've spoken to a lot of women, and I know that for a lot of them, infidelity is not a deal breaker. There are women that look, I don't care whatever he's doing, as far as it just keeps it real with me. For some women, it's okay, oh, you must always be around me. But now, we live in a world where everybody wants to live that perfect social media life that doesn't even exist.
Perfect family.
In the first place, it doesn't even exist. So, like, when I read blogs, which I stopped doing, when I read the comments, I'm like, these people cannot be normal. Oh. So there was one day I read one particular one. I can't remember the name. My wife follows that blog. So the lady was talking about how she's married to this guy, how their life is all good and all of that. She thought he was cheating, but she later found out that he wasn't cheating. And then while she thought he was cheating, she bought a property for herself in her name, and he didn't know about it. And now she's feeling some type of way on how to tell the guy and all of that. There were like 300 and something comments on that post. I can never forget it. There were like 300 and something comments all women, okay, mostly women, there was only one comment that said, are you crazy? What are you doing? Everybody else said, you go, girl. It's your life. I'm like, why are you people marrying your enemies? Because that's what he's saying. Like, what's
So
going on?
have you been following the story of Tyrese and his ex?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
She's come out to
that's
tell.
a solid example
yeah.
of what we're talking about right now. Because
She
when
op-
people listen to people chatter into their ears, the next thing is that, oh yeah, I'm doing the right thing.
99.9% of the time, I always say, I will never take advice from anybody. I'll listen to you, but I'll never take advice from anybody that is not doing better than me in that particular.
Do you think?
Exactly.
You think that when married men and their partners have disputes, especially here in Nigeria, men reserve these issues and try to talk with their partners, while women always rely on
Oh, definitely. So women,
outside
the way they are
influence.
the way they are wired generally.
Am I
When
wrong?
is that?
The way women are wired generally, they like to, oh, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? 99.99% of the time, men they internalize everything. Like, okay,
Facts.
Where have I gone
Facts.
wrong?
where have I
What can I
gone
do
wrong?
better?
And
How
then
can I
they are
manage
very
the situation?
self-aware. Women, when I read that Tyrese's wife story, I'm like, how can you fumble this bad?
Yeah.
Because so now she's going, oh yes, I'm owning my truth, and I'm like, but you don't get people where they follow you talk.
You know the thing that is very sad, and I'm sure a lot of women are going to say whatever they're going to say, but I don't care. You see, women do not like to hold themselves accountable.
One, and they don't like to see other women
And they
happy.
don't like tough
See other
conversations.
women happy.
They do not like very tough conversations.
They're not built for
When
it.
you're taking it
They're not built for it.
and you're trying to analyze and break it down, they shut down or they end it. So most men just go back into that shell and you end up with the mess that happens after, because there's no conversation, there's no communication, there's nothing. Women are not ready for the tough conversations. They don't want to hear the truth. You can't tell a woman the truth. And when we look at it, we talk about simple things like, oh, what do you think about my hair? Oh, I think it's nasty, take it off. You can't tell her that, oh, do you think I've added weight?
Don't
you're
do it.
fat.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
P-H-A-T.
Don't do
No,
it.
F-A-T. No, you're fat. You've added weight. Let's go
You
to
have
the
to
gym.
sugarcoat.
Let's work on it. You
Yeah,
understand?
always have to
Do you
put-
think?
yeah.
Do you think I speak too much? Yes, you shouldn't have told your mom about our own private conversation. So a lot of women are not ready for the tough conversations. They're not ready for the.
So it's
you
not
know,
necessarily
so-
even tough conversations. Women mostly don't like being told the truth. They don't like being told, oh, look, this is where you messed up. This is the reality. They live in their feelings.